So this is my character, Old Man Penda, and we're going to redesign him today because the file I had originally, as you can see, is blurry. It was corrupt, so we're just going to redesign him because I'm not really feeling this style anymore. I want him to look more older. So here are a couple of references I have of him here. So I like this hairstyle. Don't like the fro that I made originally, and I think his beard needs to be a little bit thicker. And I want to add wrinkles because that way he looks a little more older. I do like this cape, and I like his bandage design, but I wanted to make him look more realistic. In this belt design, I'm on the right idea there, but I wanted to look more detailed, and his shoes were just way off. So we're going to transfer all these different designs to this new style. I do like doing rotoscoping style tracing. Now, I'm not tracing the actual character one-to-one, just the actual framing of him. This is how I do it. I guess if you like character modeling, or if you did studies in character anatomy, you wouldn't have to do this, but I feel like this goes a whole lot faster for me to just get an idea, get a nice reference, and not sketch the actual character, but sketch the profile. So this is how I'm gonna have him standing here, and then I do my first sketch, and I'll create another layer and do a more in-depth body scale sketch to where it gives me an idea of how I really want him to be standing, how I want his profile to look. I do feel like I should have made him a little more hunched over versus buff. And like I said, for this hairstyle, I do like this hairstyle. It reminds me of George and Wheezy Jefferson, I don't know if you guys remember that series, Moving On Up, but I like this hairstyle. It's like an old black man hairstyle. My character is mixed. He's like a mixed older black man, so I wanted to have that style for him there. And then the eyes, I do like the droopy eyelid style for the older characters. My style of art isn't really realistic. It's more of a shonen style. And so this is the kind of approach I wanted to go with him. So the hairstyle is really neat, and the eyes, I want to give him the droopy side, saggy eye, and giving him bags, giving him the wrinkled face look. That's going to really give the character an older, aged approach without him looking decrepit. Going in here with his beard now. Like I said, the original beard, it was too pointy. I do like this here beard. It's more my style. I have a more pointy, like brushed, I guess you could say spiky style when I do hair. So I really felt like that would have matched good. So going on to his cloak here, I did feel like he needed some more detail to him versus just the bandages. Now, going into the story, the bandages actually do have a purpose and meaning why his body is bandaged. But I wanted him to have some kind of character design that kind of stood out more than just the bandages. So when I seen this character here, and he had this long tuxedo style tethered cloak, I thought it worked perfect because since he's old, I do like the tethered feel, meaning that he's aged, he's seen lots of combat, and he's skillful, it gives him that wise characteristics. I mean, his name is Old Man Penda, not just Penda. I did go on to see different, ideas on Pinterest, because that's where I get a lot of my resources, is from Pinterest, and I'll do Google searches, but Pinterest for me is a really all-in-one source where I can get a lot of my ideas from. And so then just mapping out his bandages. Like I said, my first bandages came out okay. I just wanted them to look a little more detailed. And then as far as my belt, I had the same idea, so this character here where I was like, hey, he's got the same kind of belt idea I had. But I did like the idea of putting a carrier pouch on his leg. I think it matched him very well, and it goes really well with the character style of the environment I'm trying to create. It's more of a modern day magician, wizards kind of modern day mage style, but with a more traditional up to date kind of style. Nothing to where they're going to be wearing magician hats and wizard wands and stuff like that. I want them to look like they're wearing normal clothes, but not normal enough to where it would just look like very casual a style. These boots here, I really like these boots in the pants. I didn't make them as skinny pants as this character here, as you can see, has on. I still made them more like jeans, but his boots, I did go one-to-one with his boots. Not really that good with designing shoes. I am somewhat of a sneakerhead, but when it comes to designing styles of shoes, I'm not really that that good. So taking the reference here one-to-one, I don't think that's too bad. Going in here to my inking phase, I did learn this inking style from a different YouTuber, and they have a whole entire pen set that I was able to download. They put this up for free. I'll probably link that in the description box below on the video that shows how to use their entire pen set and actually how they go about using the system of how they do their inking. I feel like it's really good, and it gives me a really smooth approach of how to do it versus the different many styles of how to do inking there is on the internet. And I think it will go one-to-one into where it's time for me to animate. I won't have to change up my inking style for the animation style. It could just go right into it. So when I do these, I like my lines to stay really thin. As you can see here, I'm on a 0.25 pen size. That's so when I do go and anti-alias it'll become really pixelated, and you won't have to worry too much about your vector lines being blurry when you use this type of style size pen. And here's the old reference there, just trying to get some color concepts and ideas about his size and how high his hair should be, because I do want him to be somewhat of a shorter guy. I mean, he's a full adult. I do use the head method to scale out my character sizes. He'll actually be a size 6.5 to almost 7 head size. A little bit shorter, but not really too short to where you wouldn't feel like he's an adult. I mean, he is an aging old man, and I feel like in character designs, when you make your characters shorter as they age, it kind of gives off that not really weak phase, but it gives them that, you know, they're weathered, if you will. Cloak design here, I'm not too well with folds in clothing, but I'm trying to get better at that. But I think this here turned out really good, and I think as I continue practicing my clothing, it does get better. I've been drawing for a while now, never really animated, so it's gonna be my first animation project I use with this character. Now, a little backstory about Pinda. He is actually a guardian of the island that he's a part of. This is going to be Troshland Island that he's from. And there's going to be a really cool secret about him that no one knows, which is, like I said before, why the bandages come into play. These bandages on him, a little bit of a spoiler tease here, have something to do with his powers and why he is the current guardian of Troshland. When he gets into his final battle, the garments on him reveal a secret about his past and why he's chosen to be guardian. Something that the island didn't really foresee in his future, but he's always looked for a successor. And the students that he's currently coaching and teaching right now, he's not really grooming them to replace him, but he does see huge potential in them to know that, okay, even though he doesn't have offspring to continue passing down his burden, and I wouldn't think it is totally a burden, but to pass down this right, he's believing that it's going to be in great hands. So I think, like I said, this cloak is a really good addition. It helps him stand out and look a little bit different from the other characters. And they always say when you're doing character designs to have one or two features that have them stand out. So then when you see them in a silhouette, or when you see them as something you could cosplay, it's a unique feature that you say, oh, okay, that's from this anime, or that's from this genre. I feel like the hands here, I could have done a little bit better. I haven't really struggled too much with hands. I think I do pretty good with hands. Fun fact, I learned how to draw hand details from the Sonic the Hedgehog comic books back in the day. So when it comes to drawing hands, I don't feel like it's as bad and difficult as most people say. For me anyway, I think they are difficult in certain angles and things, but that's probably why my hands look very glovey, because Sonic wears gloves and that's just how I learned it. Going on to the belts here, like I say, I do like some of my details to be somewhat realistic and detailed, but it's hard knowing that this is going to be for an animation to not make this as detailed as I generally try to do my art, because I feel like my art is very spacey and open, has a lot of open voids in it, and I try to fill those voids with detail or line variations, trying not to go too crazy with my line width, because I think like I said, keeping it at a 0.25 length is going to be really good for this. So here it is, just laying out some extra details. This is probably overkill on the details on the tethering of his cloak here, but it looks really good for this pose. And then going on with these bandages, I do like the concept of these bandages. I think for the next video I'm just going to split this up and try. We're going to figure out the color concept for him on the next video. But here we go here. This is the character design for Old Man Penda. Just cleaning up my lines here. Like I say, I use vectors, and it makes it a whole lot easier to clean up your extra lines when you're drawing. You don't have to get super close and do detailed erasing. But yeah, hope you guys enjoy this. Oh yeah, I forgot. Here his wand, or his staff. So in my universe, you have to have a staff in order to draw out your powers. And I figured, since the entire concept of Conjurer is they get their powers from the moon goddess Lunesis, and with Old Man Penda being a guardian of this particular island, I felt like it'd be really cool design feature to have his staff feature a moon. Now their power and ability traits come from their moon phases. Here I am here looking at some eggshells because I was having trouble designing a correct sphere here. So I'm like, okay, let me look up an egg and figure out, okay, how can I draw cracks? So that was that there. Like I said, I use references a lot. I think personally, there's nothing wrong with using references as long as you don't plagiarize and steal one for one. It's like as if you came up with the idea. And like you see here, it's not an egg itself, it's a sphere. I just needed the idea of how to do the cracking. Here's some extra designs for staffs. I wanted to look at the handle, mix up some different ideas for the handle. This part here is my design as putting it orb right in the middle of the handle. But he's going to be holding this staff upside down, I guess you could say. Now, they don't shoot powers from their staff. Theoretically, I mean, they could in some characters, but they draw their powers from the staff. They can't use their magic without the staff. This is my concept, kind of going off of like a Full Metal Alchemist. Like they can't do their magic without the trigrams, or whatever they're called, the circles that they draw. Now, obviously, Elric does a little bit more because of his arm and whatever, and the Philosopher's Stone, and they're try to chase down all that. But anyway, my characters, they have to have a staff in order to draw out their powers and their magic. And so I really like the way this staff came out. It came out really cool. I think the moon design was really detailed, and the colors that I'm gonna choose for this, I think it's gonna have to be able to pop really well and go with the motif of what Penda stands for. The details on them are not going to be super crazy because, animating staffs is going to be horrible if I put too many details on them. So pretty much they're sticks from now. Even though they do use magic and their staffs, what I'm going to do is have their staffs actually be things that they can use in battle. So they can fight with them just like bow staffs. And here I am again cleaning up my vector lines. It's just so much simpler when you draw in vector, because then you can just erase right over other lines that cross over. But here he is, Old Man Penda. Hope you guys enjoyed.